Okay, well, now that I'm done talking about Aravi, I guess let's go and move on and talk about Luna. I don't think this will take quite 18 minutes because, I'm not as high. Luna's buff is insane. Like, she's like absolutely insane based on what I'm seeing here. But Aravi is a unit that I've really liked and really wanted. I bought her with ML coins, so that's probably why that video is 18 minutes long. But let's continue here. So they moved her Stolburn from here to increase damage on S3 to her S1 to make it always hit with 3. When her S1 hits with the 3-turn thing or whatever, the 3 times, it is the hardest hitting S1 in the game. So being able to guarantee do that for 10 souls is insane, actually. So, yeah, they reworked her S2 a little bit, her passive. It still does the same thing with the attack when she's over 50% and the defense less than 50%. What they did was they took the crit part out and made that always there. Because, it'd always be kind of wonky when people build, like, PvP Luna, and you don't want to overcap the crit. So, like, you would build her to that, and then she would fall under the threshold and then not crit. That was a big problem with her in PvP before, and they kind of resolved that. And then giving her the 30% crit resistance is actually insane as well, too. It makes her, just tankier. Crit res is really strong, and it's crit res that you can't dispel. If you were to stack this with, like, Mort's buff, or... Deanne. I forget who else has crit resistance buff. I know Mort does, and I know Deanne does. Like, that's 80% crit resistance. Like, that's insane. And she's got naturally bulky base stats too, which is nice. Okay, so like going into her S3, I think they removed the defense. No, she still has defense break in it, but it also penetrates defense by 50%. It's always attacks with advantage, the advantageous element too. So it always does element advantage. If you do this in the damage calculator, like you don't have to click element advantage, like it doesn't change. It's already calculated in. And then when you kill something, it gives you 5 additional souls, and you also acquire 5 souls. Yeah, actually insane. And we'll talk about it a little bit more in a second. But yeah, basically, like you can build her. I think she's relevant now. She kind of follows suit with Aravi in that like S10E is still insane, and she's a single target unit, unfortunately. So that kind of sucks. But you can do some pretty fun things with her now, I think. Yeah, moving into game, let's take a look at a couple things. So I still have S10E up from the last video, but let's move over to Luna here. I still have mine plus 15 from forever ago. I think she's just holding gear right now. So yeah, she's just got random stuff on. Her EE, we'll talk about that here in a second. So yeah, mine's S. I will probably triple S her on her banner when she comes back. She's got a really strong imprint, like 18% attack here, and then the 30% attack here is a lot of free stats, like a ton of free stats. It's gonna be easy to build her to do a shit ton of damage. So crazy. Moving into her EE, this is where things kind of get interesting. So this is the one I have. Let's go to Hall of Trials real quick, and we can kind of talk about this. So this one right here, this one grants an extra turn to the caster when the enemy is defeated by Ragnar Spear. Okay, this thing it always has elemental advantage, and it penetrates defense by 50%. So it's crap, and she literally she gets it's like 48% free attack. Like her damage is actually going to be cracked. She's going to do a lot of damage. So like it's actually going to be insane. And the interesting thing with this interaction now is that you notice like this acquires 5 souls, right? And then like they changed it from 3 to 5. And then when you kill something, you get an additional 5 souls. So basically what you can do with this now is, like, if you have a really fast threatening Luna and she can one-shot a squishy target, or hell, maybe not even a squishy target, like if you have enough damage on her, she can one-shot a carrot through mitigation if you have enough damage. Like it's gonna be that nutty. Then you get the extra turn, and then you self-fund your souls to soul burn your S1 on the extra turn for the hardest hitting S1 in the game, which is just cracked to think about, right? This brings up another interesting point, is the fact that they're bringing so many anti-AoE units in the game and anti-cleave units in the game. I think the way it's going to shift is cleavers are going to do more single target stuff and not use so many openers, especially when MLNG comes out. They're just going to throw all of their crazy gear on units like Luna here, Assassin Sid, maybe Assassin Kali, etc. They're going to try and draft a book or whatever, and they're just going to try and run you down with really fast units. And I think Luna is going to be a very pivotal unit in that kind of draft. The fact that she's ice really helps too, because, you know, Politis is a very relevant anti-cleave unit and should just kind of shred through her. So we'll just have to see where things go. I'm not really a cleave player. Like, I'll cleave people sometimes when the opportunity presents itself. And I'll usually disguise my cleave when I do it. So, like, I'll start drafting to where, like, it looks like I'm drafting Bruiser, and then I'll last pick Sidon Pavel and then cleave them, because they don't have a really good option to ban, and they drafted too slow. So that's kind of how I cleave. There's a lot of people out there that have you know, 4 units, 5 units at 300 speed with, like, you know, good stubs and etc. And they can run down single target cleaves like this. So I'll just have to see how they do in that, right? And I think, and coupled with Luna here is like, let's talk about this change to Merciless Glutton here. And this, what I think, like, further enhances the idea of her, like, being in the cleave that's all single target or something like that, etc., right? Is this new artifact here. It's the fact that all of her attacks are single target, so she'll get the 16% damage here. And then when defeating an enemy with a single attack, so like one-shotting something with her S3, it'll give your entire team 12% CR. And then if you do enough damage with your S1 again, it's another 12%. I believe this is like about a Sachet proc, right? It's about similar. Let me see. Artifact. 16%. And you can couple this together, right? That's crazy to think about. So you kill something, and then you gain CR here, and then plus CR there. So that's 28%. And if you happen to have a max comment on another warrior type unit, then that's even more CR. Like, you can do some crazy things. This would be another 24% on something when something dies. That's literally... Well, I had a brain fart. It's like 50%. It's like... Literally, like that's insane to think about, dude. Like 50% CR on one character when you kill something with Luna. So you draft another warrior. Strays, for example. That's another way you can boost Strays in a cleave. Like, there's going to be some really creative ways that you can play with this, I think. I think Strays is a very good option. So, like, Azure Comment Strays. So, you draft Luna. You draft, like, staying away from, like, AoE openers because of all the counters now, like Rim and etc. You can probably, it's going to be kind of hard to build, I think, Luna to one-shot a Rim, right? That's going to be kind of difficult. It's possible, though. If you have the damage stats, and you don't even have to be, like, you can sacrifice some speed. But, so you draft, like, Luna, and then you draft, like, Strays, and then you have another, like, probably want some book holders, or you need some kind of attack buff for Strays. So, I don't know, some good options. You do have Pavel as an option still. I mean, you know, Pavel's not dead, and you can run this EE. So, like, if you're building a big damage Strays, if he's going to get 50% CR gain, like, that's kind of nutty, right? But you could also, like, set this up to where it gives it to Luna as well. This is still unable to be countered. So, he's actually really good into Rim. So, I don't know. I think Luna, she could be a cleave unit, or she could be a bruiser. I think both work really well. You can run her on Sigurd's or that new artifact. It really just depends on what kind of gear you have. You can definitely run her on counter. I think her on counter is good. I don't see why it wouldn't be. Where is she at? Well, I'm actually blind. Oh, she's literally right there. But yeah, I think what you're going to use kind of like EE will probably change based on your build. I think the extra turn one, I think you're going to want in like a faster version. But I actually think if you're building her slower bruiser, I think this one's better. It'll give her more turn cycling, push her up through, build more damage. You might be able to do a Hellcutter build. I wouldn't do that. I don't think I'd do a Hellcutter build on her personally. You could. But I don't think it's as good as LQC. It might be. Man, hell, try it. I don't know. Hellcutter might actually work. But yeah, Lifesteal might even work too. There's a lot of cool things you can do with her. I definitely think she's gonna be viable. Like, I think she's gonna be very good. And she's gonna be able to be used a bunch of different ways. So, yeah. I'm satisfied with her buff. I think she's going to be a fun unit to mess around with. But that's really my thoughts on her. I don't really know of anything else to talk about, so I guess go ahead and wrap this one up too. So if you enjoyed this, drop me a like. I appreciate it. Helps the algorithm, because YouTube doesn't like showing my videos to people no more. Drop a comment for the algorithm as well. It helps with engagement. And if you're new here, sub. I'd appreciate it. If you made it this far, you might as well sub. Supports me. I appreciate it. Keeps content like this coming. So if you enjoyed the video, you want to see it coming, then hit the red subscribe button. It's free. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Fuck.